Bedard. Randy is better known to his teammates as Rambo. Randy is the son of Vic and Sharon Bedard. His baseball experience includes 2 years in the Oak Ridge Baseball Association and 2 years as a Wildcat, where he has played third base, shortstop, and the outfield. Randy plans to attend Tennessee Tech University to study sociology and criminal justice.
That's interesting.
Next, we have Mike Bird. Mike Bird's better known to his teammates as the Birdman. Mike is the son of Shane and Karen Edwards. His baseball experience includes 3 years in the Clinton baseball program, 2 years in the Oak Ridge Baseball Association, and 3 years as a Wildcat, where he has played first base and pitcher. Mike plans to attend the University of Tennessee and study graphic and commercial arts. Next, we have Andy DeGraw. Andy is better known to his teammates as Rube. Andy is the son of Mike and Polly DeGraw. His baseball experience includes 5 years in the Oak Ridge Boys Club program, 4 years in the Oak Ridge Baseball Association, and 3 years as a Wildcat, where he has played third base in the outfield. Andy plans to attend either Xavier or LMU to study education.
A little bit.
Next, we have Jim Felty. Jim is better known to his teammates as a Stork. Jim is the son of Fred and Betty Felty. His baseball experience includes 5 years in the Boys Club program, 4 years in the Oak Ridge Baseball Association, and 3 years as a Wildcat, where he has played the outfield. Jim plans to attend either the University of North Carolina or the University of Virginia, where he plans to study business with the intent to go to law school after graduation. Next, we have John Capper. John's better known to his teammates as Trash or Ken. John is the son of Kay and Jay Capper. His baseball experience includes 6 years in California, 1 year in the Oak Ridge Baseball Association, and 2 years as a Oak Ridge Wildcat, where he has played second base and shortstop. John is undecided at this point where he wants to go to school or what he wants to study. Next, we have Stanton McCaskill. Stanton's better known to his teammates as Stein. Stanton is the son of Emma McCaskill and Harvey Stevens. His baseball experience includes 5 years in the Boys Club program, 2 years in the Oak Ridge Baseball Association, and 3 years as a Wildcat, where he's played the outfield. Stanton plans to attend either Middle Tennessee State University or the Air Force Academy, where he will study business. Let's have a big round of applause for this group of young men. And this will be the pitcher. Number 8, Kelly Calhoun, the second baseman. Number 21, Alan Seaver, shortstop. Number 42, Dwayne Robertson, first base. Number 27, Luke Shattuck in right field.
This is going to be fun.
Number 20, Reed Satterfield. Number 33, Terry Milan, center fielder. And number 7, the left fielder.
Hello again, everybody. This is David Cleary along with Todd Guthrie here at Bobby Hopkins Field, where tonight Oak Ridge High School will be playing their last regular season home game, their last district game against the Clinton Dragons. Here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7, both teams have been introduced. We'll get the lineups as the game progresses. Oak Ridge in Cardinal and Gray will be out on the field, of course, as this is a home game on deck. And the first leadoff batter for the Clinton Dragons will be Tony Simpson. Simpson batting .409 in the 1988 baseball season. We're about to get underway here from Bobby Hopkins Field. We're glad you've tuned in. Jeff Krupp on the mound for the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats. The pitch to the plate is a little bit inside, called a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. We're underway here from Bobby Hopkins Field. This is our first telecast, might be our last telecast. We didn't get things going until the later part of the season. If you enjoy watching Oak Ridge High School baseball on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7, tell them, and we'll try to get some more ball games in the future. Jeff Krupp on the mound for Oak Ridge. Let's set the infield for you. At first base for Oak Ridge as Krupp winds. Here's the pitch to the plate. It's going to be a little ground ball fielded by the third baseman, Andy DeGraw. Throws on to Mike Bird at first base, and there's one away here in the top of the first inning from Bobby Hopkins Field. The rest of the infield at second base, senior John Capper. This is the last regular season home game. Before the game, we hope you enjoyed the introductions of the seniors and their families. And at shortstop is Mike Caldwell. At third base, like we just said, Andy DeGraw. In the outfield, we've got Jim Felty in left field, Brad Martin in center, and Stanton McCaskill in right field. Up to bat now for Clinton is Kelly Calhoun, batting .271 on the season. Jeff Krupp on the mound. Oak Ridge 14-8 in the 1988 baseball season. Calhoun's got a no ball, one strike count. The pitch to the plate is swung on line drive to the shortstop Caldwell. He fields it behind second and throws the ball away. It'll hit off the backstop in front of the dugout over there by Clinton, but the base runner was unable to progress. I guess it'll have to be an error on the shortstop, Mike Caldwell. So the runner on first here in the top of the first inning. On the bat now for the Clinton Dragons is the shortstop, Alan Severs. Severs batting .326. He's got 3 home runs on the year, and he's an excellent power hitter, an excellent ball player. One away here in the top of the first inning. We're glad you tuned in here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Calhoun takes his lead off first base. Krupp throws over that way. He's back in time. Todd Guthrie doing our camera work. We'd like to thank him for helping out. This is David Cleary here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Krupp on the mound for Oak Ridge. Calhoun takes his lead off of first base. Once again, Krupp goes over a little bit closer that time, but he gets back safely. In the batter's box, Alan Severs is yet to be a pitch attempt against him here in the first inning. Krupp has been working on Calhoun over at first base. Now here's the first pitch to Severs is called a strike. Strike one the call against Alan Severs. Actually, he swung and missed at it. I guess you can tell here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. We're broadcasting here from the Oak Ridge bleachers. We're not exactly behind the plate. We get a better view with using one camera from the side, and we hope you enjoy it. Krupp on the mound. No balls, one strike the count. On deck will be Dwayne Roberts. Pitch to play, a little bit high, a pitch out. Throw down to second base. He is out. Nice throw by Edward Dunbar, the catcher. And Calhoun is caught stealing 2-4. So now there's 2 away in the top of the first inning. A 1 ball and 1 strike count on the number 3 batter for the Clinton Dragons, Alan Severs. These two teams played about a week ago. Bad news for the Wildcats. They lost that game 10-0. I believe at Clinton, Tennessee. Not a very good game for them, but the Wildcats have been playing some good ball all season long. They will go into the district tournament next week, which will be here at Bobby Hopkins Field. So for those of you watching this telecast, we'd hope you'll come out next week for the district tournament. Ground ball to Andy DeGraw. He'll throw on to first for out number 3. So quickly, after the error by Caldwell, it didn't hurt Oak Ridge. So there's 3 away, and we'll go to the bottom of the first inning. No score, Oak Ridge and Clinton. We're back here at Bobby Hopkins Field, bottom half of the first inning about to get underway. Let's set the Oak Ridge batting order first of all. The third baseman will lead off, the senior Andy DeGraw. Batting second will be second baseman John Caffer. The DH tonight will be Thad Ulrich. He'll be batting for the pitcher Jeff Krupp. The fourth batter, the cleanup, is Mike Caldwell, the shortstop. Number 25, Edward Dunbar, will be the number 5 batter for Oak Ridge. He's the catcher. Mike Bird will be followed by Jim Felty, Stanton McCaskill, and then the center fielder Brad Martin batting ninth. As we're about to get the bottom half of the first inning underway, we're glad you've tuned in here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Andy DeGraw will step in for Oak Ridge. DeGraw on the season batting .267. He's been at bat 45 times, has 12 hits. He scored 17 runs. He leads the team in stolen bases. He's got a total of 16. He's a perfect leadoff batter. He's walked a number of times, 13 on the season, and he steps in batting .267. On the mound for the Clinton Dragons will be, let's see, let me check my roster here. We're broadcasting from the bleachers, so it's kind of hard to keep up with things. On the mound is Tony Simpson. He was a leadoff batter in the top half of the first inning as DeGraw steps in for Oak Ridge, and we're about to get the bottom half of the first inning. No score, Oak Ridge and Clinton here from Bobby Hopkins Field. DeGraw in the batter's box. He's a senior. He'll be followed by Caffer. Pitches a little bit high, 1 ball and no strike the count to Andy DeGraw. Caffer and Ulrich, the 3 top three here in the first inning of play. DeGraw in the batter's box. Simpson on the mound for the Dragons. The wind, the pitch to the plate, curveball swung on, high fly ball to left field. Left fielder's got a beat on it. He's got it for out number one. So one down here at the bottom of the first inning. And now up for the Wildcats will be John Caffer. Caffer, one of the top hitters on the team, batting .448 coming into this game. He's been at bat 29 times, has 13 hits, has scored 11 runs, has 9 RBIs. And he's done a good job when he's been in there for Coach Nelson Glover. The Wildcats are coached by Nelson Glover. This is his third year at Oak Ridge High School, his fourth year at Oak Ridge High School, his third year as the head coach. Here's the pitch to Caffer. It's going to be called a strike. No balls, one strike on John Caffer. Thad Ulrich, the designated hitter, on deck. He's batting for Jeff Krupp. Simpson on the mound for the Dragons. We're just underway here. First inning of play from Bobby Hopkins Field. Pitch to the plate, high pop-up in the infield. It's going to be called for, and a catch is made by the pitcher for out number 2. So quickly, here in the first inning of play, the first two batters are retired on fly balls, and now Thad Ulrich, the designated hitter, will be on for Oak Ridge. He's batting .405 on the season, 37 at-bats. He has 15 hits. He's scored 12 runs, has 8 RBIs. He's been walked 9 times, and he steps in with 2 away here in the bottom of the first inning. No score, Oak Ridge and Clinton. Todd Guthrie doing our camera work. We'll be talking to him here in a few minutes as Ulrich steps in once again. 2 outs. Simpson on the mound for the Clinton Dragons. Clinton and Oak Ridge here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Here's the pitch to the plate. Is called a strike. No balls, 1 strike on Thad Ulrich. Andy DeGraw led off the inning with a pop-up to the left fielder. John Caffer followed with a pop-up fielded by the pitcher. 2 away here, and Ulrich steps in once again. No balls and 1 strike. Pitch is going to be lined to center field, a base hit. So Ulrich continues his hot hitting, and he's on base with a single. And for him, that'll be his 14th single of the 1988 season. He has a total of 15 hits, 14 of which are singles. Now on the bat for Oak Ridge will be the leading home run hitter for Oak Ridge. He only has 2, but he's done a good job. Mike Caldwell. Caldwell, a junior, batting an even .400. He is 16 for 40, scored 16 runs, leads the team in RBIs with a total of 16. He steps in with Thad Ulrich taking his lead off of first base. And on deck for Oak Ridge will be the catcher, Edward Dunbar. Throw over to first base, gets away from the first baseman, so Ulrich will be able to advance down to second base, and he'll keep on coming. Now he makes the wide turn at second base, and will go back to second. We're in the first inning of play. Runner in scoring position for Oak Ridge. Mike Caldwell, the number 1 RBI man statistically for the Wildcats. In the bat, he is yet to have a pitch from Simpson. Ulrich singled. He's at second base. Caldwell steps in. Like I said, on deck will be the catcher, Edward Dunbar. Caldwell steps in against Simpson. He looks back to second base. Pitch to the plate is going to be swung on. A little foul ball dribbled this way. No balls and 1 strike to Mike Caldwell. The Wildcats 14-8, I believe, their record coming into this ball game. This is their last regular season game at home. The district tournament, like I talked about a little while ago, will start next Saturday, I believe, here at Bobby Hopkins Field, and we'll hope you'll come out for that. Simpson winds. The pitch to the plate is going to be a little bit inside, evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Oak Ridge, coached by Nelson Glover, in Cardinal and gray, Clinton in blue and orange. Here from Bobby Hopkins Field. And Caldwell steps back in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ulrich takes his lead off second. Pitch to the plate is a little curveball swung on and missed. So Simpson ahead of Caldwell. 1 ball and 2 strikes. On deck, like we said, Edward Dunbar. Dunbar on the season has been pretty much the starting catcher all season long. He's batting .225, and he'll be up here in a minute as Caldwell steps back into the batter's box. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ulrich once again takes his lead. Here's the pitch, a little bit inside, evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hopefully, following this game, we'll be talking to the head coach of the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats, Nelson Glover, and possibly we'll get a chance to talk with some of the players before we leave Bobby Hopkins in this Oak Ridge Clinton baseball game here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Pitch to plate is swung on and fouled back, so the count remains 2-2. We've got 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. Andy DeGraw led the inning off. He flied out to the left fielder. He was followed by John Caffer, who flied out in the infield to the pitcher, Tony Simpson. 2 down. Caldwell has a 2 ball and 2 strike count. Simpson looks for the sign from the catcher, looks back to second base. Caldwell back in the batter's box. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, he looks back to second. The pitch to the plate is swung on and missed, so Caldwell strikes out. So neither team able to get on the board here in the first inning. So our score going in the top half of the second from Bobby Hopkins Field, Oak Ridge and Clinton remain scoreless. And we'll be back after this. David Cleary, Todd Guthrie back here at Bobby Hopkins Field. Top of the second inning about to get set. Clinton will send up Dwayne Roberts, the first baseman, followed by Luke Shattuck, the right fielder. Then the third baseman, Reed Satterfield. Nobody has scored here. The only base runner reached on an error, and he was erased in the first inning as the first pitch from Krupp is fouled back. No balls and 1 strike to Dwayne Roberts. Roberts leads the team in home runs for the Clinton Dragons. He's got a total of 4, batting .273 on the season. These Clinton players, they've got some pretty healthy batting averages coming into this baseball game. They played some pretty stiff competition. I was talking to Charlie Phillips and Don Calhoun, the play-by-play announcers for the Clinton Dragons, right before the ball game, and he said that most of the players have been hitting the ball real well. Oak Ridge at times has hit the ball real well. In fact, Oak Ridge has 4 or 5 players with batting average of over 400 as the Krupp winds and delivers another strike. So Roberts in the hole here. No balls and 2 strikes. Jeff Krupp, junior player, of course, played basketball for Coach Steve Shipley's team, did a fine job, and will be returning next year. Swung on a line drive to center field. It's over the top of the center fielder, Brad Martin's head. While winding around first will come Roberts. He makes it into second base with a double, so that's the first base hit of the ball game. Dwayne Roberts picks it up, a double on an 0-2 count to Roberts, and Jeff Krupp has got to be a little bit upset with that because he had him 0-2, but Roberts, like we said, leads the team in home runs. He's got a total of 4, batting .273, and he's on second base with a leadoff double here in the top of the second inning. On the bat now for Clinton will come the right fielder, Luke Shattuck. He'll be followed by Reed Satterfield. Shattuck, another healthy batting average, batting .348 for the Clinton Dragons. Second inning of play, Krupp looks back to second base. Caldwell sneaks in behind him, and Krupp will deliver to the plate. Swung on, missed. Nice stop by the catcher, Edward Dunbar. So Krupp getting the balls across the plate. He's gotten the first batter. Roberts had an 0-2 count. He delivered a double on that pitch, and it's a no-ball, 1-strike count on Luke Shattuck. Krupp once again looks back to second. Here's the pitch to the plate. A little bit high, evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Satterfield on deck for the Clinton Dragons. Oak Ridge coached by Nelson Glover. And unfortunately for Coach Glover, he doesn't have an assistant coach this year. He's got some fine, talented athletes. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the pitch to the plate. Swung on, miss. It was a little bit high. Krupp got the high fastball past him, so it's a 1 ball and 2 strike count on Luke Shattuck. Roberts, who doubles, still at second base. Jeff Krupp once again has the sign from catcher Edward Dunbar. Caffer sneaks in. Here's Caldwell back, but Krupp delivers to plate. A strike is going to be called. It's going to be fielded by Dunbar. He'll have to throw him out, and he does, as Bird takes the throw at first base. So a strikeout credited to Luke Shattuck. And there's 1 away here in the second inning of play. And on the bat now will come Reed Satterfield, the third baseman for the Clinton Dragons. He also has a fine batting average, batting .371 coming into the contest as Krupp has 1 down. No score here in the second inning of play from Bobby Hopkins Field. The game started, of course, the last regular season game. We hope if you were able to see the seniors and their parents introduced before the ball game, as a very good crowd is forming here at Bobby Hopkins Field. Definitely the largest crowd of the season for this last game. Beautiful night for baseball. Very pleasant temperatures, not a cloud in the sky. Pitch to the plate is called a strike. No balls and 1 strike to Reed Satterfield. Kind of an unusual vantage point doing a broadcast. The rest of the season we've been in the press box directly behind the plate. Today we're in the Oak Ridge stands in the far left corner getting a whole look at the field as Krupp winds. The pitch to the plate is swung on high, pop fly. It's going to go down the right field line. I don't believe anybody can catch up to it. Mike Bird almost has it. Will not make the play, and over to third base will come Dwayne Roberts. A nice effort by Mike Bird, the first baseman for Oak Ridge. So now Oak Ridge in a little bit of trouble here as Clinton has runners on the corners with 1 man down. You have to give a base hit to Reed Satterfield. Just an exceptional effort, though, by Mike Bird. On the bat now for the Clinton Dragons will come the catcher, Matt Kirby. He's the number 7 batter for the Dragons. He's batting .295. On deck after that will be the center fielder, Terry Milan, followed by the left fielder, Justin Hill. Wildcats and Dragons. Scoreless here from Bobby Hopkins Field. One man down, second inning of play. Once again stepping in will come the catcher, Matt Kirby. Runners on the corners. Here's the pitch to plate, a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes the count. David Clary and Todd Guthrie here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7, Oak Ridge High School baseball from Bobby Hopkins Field. I'm so used to doing radio broadcasting, Todd, I keep forgetting I don't have to talk all the time, as this is a televised game. It's a little bunt. It's not going to be a suicide squeeze, but it'll be enough for a base hit as DeGraw nearly throws the ball away. A nice saving play by Mike Bird. And so now Clinton has the bases loaded here with only 1 man out. Another base hit credited to the Dragons. This one will go to Matt Kirby. So Oak Ridge in all kinds of problems. That time it might have been wise if Andy DeGraw didn't throw the ball, but Bird once again makes a nice play, saving the errant throw. So Jeff Krupp on the mound with the bases loaded of Dragons, 1 man out. And the number 8 batter, Terry Milan, the center fielder, on the bat for the Dragons. Milan is batting .326 as he steps in. Jeff Krupp on the mound for Oak Ridge. He'll look back to his base runners. Roberts takes his lead off of third base. Satterfield at second. Kirby at first. Here's the pitch to plate. He faked the bunt. He will not put it down. It'll be a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes to count. If we're experiencing a little audio problem, we apologize for that. We'll try to get that taken care of momentarily. As Krupp's on the mound once again. He looks in. 1 ball and no strikes to count. Milan once again squares the bunt. This one's going to go in for a strike. Evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bases loaded for the Clinton Dragons here in the second inning of play. Oak Ridge only had a base hit from Thad Ulrich in their bottom half of the first inning. The Dragons and Wildcats. Pitch to plate is bounced up there. Nice save by Edward Dunbar. So it is now a 2 ball and 1 strike count. The outfield consists for Oak Ridge of Jim Felty in left field, Brad Martin in center, Stanton McCaskill in right field for Oak Ridge. Pitch to plate, once again a little bit high, so Krupp is in trouble now. 3 balls and 1 strike, 1 away to center fielder Terry Milan. On deck will be the number 9 batter, the left fielder Justin Hill, but Krupp wants to get this one for sure. He doesn't want to pitch another bad one here. 3 balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch to plate, swung on and missed. So it's a full count now to Milan. Roberts at third base. At second base is Reed Satterfield. Roberts got on base with a leadoff double. Shattuck struck out. That's the only out in the inning. He had to be thrown out by Dunbar. And then a singles by Reed Satterfield, an infield single by Matt Kirby as the bases loaded for the Dragons. Krupp winds the pitch to play. High pop. Dunbar should have it. He now has a beat on it, and he isn't able to catch it as the wind might have taken control of that one. So unfortunately, Oak Ridge had it that time, but Dunbar was unable to make the play. So Jeff Krupp still will be faced with a 3 ball and 2 strike count. 1 away, second inning of play here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Mike Caldwell, teammates with Jeff Krupp in the basketball season, talking things over with his junior pitcher. Now Caldwell returns to the shortstop position. Oak Ridge and Clinton once again back in the batter's box. Terry Milan, 3 balls, 2 strikes the count. He looks at his runners from the stretch. Now he'll throw over to first base. Almost caught him leaning there, but he's back safely. Krupp strolls once again the line as the umpire wants to dust off the plate, I believe. Time is called, the batter getting control. And our score here from Bobby Hopkins Field, Oak Ridge and Clinton are scoreless. Second inning of play. We're glad you've tuned in here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Once again, Krupp on the mound. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count. Terry Milan, the center fielder, with the bases loaded. Here's the pitch to plate. It's going to be swung on and foul tipped back. And the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Like I said a minute ago, a very nice crowd on hand here at Bobby Hopkins Field. Definitely the largest crowd of the season. A lot of Oak Ridge fans came out to say farewell, I guess, to the senior players that were introduced before the game. And their parents were out also represented. In the high school was Bill Hodgers, the principal, Dr. Bill Hodgers, as once again Krupp almost caught the Matt Kirby leaning once again at first base, and he gets back safely. Krupp trying to hold that runner on over there. He's taking a big lead, and Krupp making sure that he doesn't get any farther than he has been. Once again, Krupp looking over that way. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count to Terry Milan. He'll pitch the plate. It's low, so the first run is in as Jeff Krupp walks Terry Milan, and it's 1-0 Clinton as Roberts will stroll in from third base. The bases will remain loaded. Satterfield moves over to third base. Kirby down the second, and Milan's on at first. Bases still loaded. The batter now for the Dragons will be the left fielder Justin Hill, batting .286. One away here, the only out, a strikeout by Luke Shattuck. Oak Ridge had an opportunity moments ago when Milan fouled one right at the plate. It was foul ball, and Dunbar was unable to corral it. Bases still loaded. On the bat will come Hill. Once again, runners take their lead. Here's the pitch from Krupp. It's going to be bunted very, very hard. It's going to get a run home, and DeGraw will throw on the first. He's not in time, so it's a base hit and an RBI, and the bases will remain loaded as Justin Hill is on at first base. A nice bunt. DeGraw fielded it. When he got past the mound, there was nothing that Jeff Krupp could do. DeGraw fired it as quickly as he could, but it was not in time, and the bases remain loaded, and 2 runs are in as Satterfield comes in to score. Down the third base now will go Kirby. Down at second, Terry Milan, and we're back at the top of the order with the pitcher, Tony Simpson. Simpson grounded out in the first inning of play. He's the leadoff batter for the Dragons. Came into the game batting .409 as Krupp now trails in this game by a score of 2-0 here in the top of the second inning of play here from Bobby Hopkins Field. On deck for the Dragons, Terry Calhoun, another fine ball player. Got a good healthy average, as most of these players do. Krupp winds. Here's the pitch to the plate. Little curveball, a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes the count. We're on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. We're glad you've tuned in. Todd Guthrie doing our camera work. His first attempt here doing television, I guess, on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Our first telecast of an Oak Ridge High School baseball game as Krupp is on the mound. 1 ball and no strikes. 1 away. Here's the pitch to the plate. A little bit low. Krupp just barely missing the plate. 2 balls and no strikes the count. At third base, the catcher, Matt Kirby, he'll take his lead. The center fielder, Milan, off of second. Justin Hill, who just moments ago had an infield single for an RBI, as now Coach Nelson Glover wants to talk things over with this pitcher, Jeff Krupp. Krupp really not doing that poorly, just doesn't have the control, and the hits, I guess, most of them have been of the infield variety, and he's just been hurt. He trails 2-0 here in the second inning of play. Little look at the crowd here assembling here at Bobby Hopkins Field. Sun beginning to set behind us. Jeff Krupp on the mound. 2 balls and no strikes the count. And back in the batter's box will come the pitcher, Tony Simpson. He looks down to his third base coach. He has a sign. Bases remain loaded. Krupp on the mound. 2 balls and no strikes. Like I said, Tony Simpson batting a healthy .409 coming into the game. Timeout is asked for by the batter. I guess Krupp took a little bit too much time. Simpson steps out of the batter's box. Runners first, second, and third. Bases loaded. Once again in the batter's box will come Tony Simpson. He's 0 of 1. Like we said, he grounded out in the top of the first inning to lead off the baseball game. Krupp winds. 2 balls, no strikes. The pitch hits him. So just like that, another run scores on the hits bat. And let's see, coming in to score now will come Matt Kirby. Down the third base will come Terry Milan, and down the second will go Justin Hill. Tony Simpson on with a hit batsman. So now Kelly Calhoun will come on to bat. He reached on the Mike Caldwell error in the first inning of play, and he once again bats with the bases loaded. It's 3-0 now as Krupp, having some control problems, have gotten him into a little trouble here in this second inning of play. Krupp looks in for the sign from catcher Edward Dunbar. Calhoun batting .271 coming into the game. Here's the pitch to plate. Down low in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. Jeff Krupp pitched. He didn't pitch in yesterday's game against the Central Bobcats. His last game was against Campbell County. He didn't pitch but about an inning. He picked up a win. That was that suspended game, and it only took 1 inning of pitching for Jeff Krupp, and the Wildcats won that game 8-7. Oak Ridge comes in with a record of 14 wins and 8 defeats. The district tournament will be here at Bobby Hopkins starting on Saturday, and we'll hope you'll come out for what should be an exciting 3 or 4 days of baseball. District tournament's also exciting. The girls softball tournament also will be in Oak Ridge. That tournament will be at Carl Yearwood. Krupp pitches to the plate. That one looked good. Strike called, so that evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Calhoun, a left-handed batter, the only lefty in the Clinton order. Bases still loaded. 3 runs in here in the second inning of play. Krupp on the mound for Oak Ridge. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch to the plate, swung on ground ball up the middle, unable to be fielded by Caldwell. 1 run in. Martin will fire to the plate, and another run will score. So it looks like that is 5-0 on the base hit by Kelly Calhoun. 2 RBIs credited to Mr. Calhoun as Terry Milan comes around the score. Justin Hill also scores. And moving all the way to second base will be Simpson, and Calhoun's on. So now it's going to be a pitching change right off the bat as Jeff Krupp will be replaced here in the second inning of play. And coming in from the bullpen will come Neil Cutshaw. Cutshaw's done a pretty good job. He pitched the other day against the Clinton Dragons, and he'll be the new pitcher. So while he gets his warm-ups, why don't we send it back once again? We'll be back in a few minutes. In the second inning of play, 5 runs have scored here in the top half of the second. We only have 1 out. Jeff Krupp, really his main problem, I guess, was the control, as Clinton still has runners at first and second. 1 man down, and we're back to the number 2 batter, Alan Sievers, batting .326. He grounded out to DeGraw to close out the first inning. The first pitch is a little bit inside. Actually, might have came close to hitting him, but able to get out of the way was Sievers. And we've got a 1 ball and no strike count. Runners at first and second. At second base will be Tony Simpson. He was hit by a pitch down at first base with a 2 RBI single. Kelly Calhoun. Runners at first and second. Pitch to plate once again. Let's see if he committed himself. He asked for an appeal. It'll be not a swing, so it'll be 2 balls and no strikes. The count on Alan Sievers. He's got 3 home runs on the season. He's batting .326. On deck will be Dwayne Roberts. He had a double to open up this inning, so Clinton almost has batted around here in the second inning of play. Cutshaw on the mound. The pitch to plate, a pitch out, nothing happening for Clinton. So just like that, it's a 3 ball and no strike count. Roberts once again on deck for the Dragons. Neil Cutshaw, Jr. on the mound for Oak Ridge, has done a good job in a number of appearances when he's come in from the bullpen. Oak Ridge has Caldwell sneaking in behind the runner at second base. Cutshaw doesn't throw back that way as the runner got back safely. 3 balls and no strikes the count on Alan Sievers. It's been a very long top half of the second inning. 5 runs have scored for the Dragons, and things are still underway. They've got runners at first and second. Cutshaw pitches to the plate. It's going to be high, so once again, the bases are loaded, and Sievers goes down to first base on the walk. Over to third base will come Tony Simpson. Down to second, Kelly Calhoun. Oak Ridge lost to the Dragons 10-0 last Thursday night at Clinton, Tennessee. The Wildcats trailing in this one 5-0, and things don't look that much better as the number 4 batter for the Dragons is on the bat. He doubled and scored to lead off this inning, and he's up once again. He's the leading hitter on this team. Home runs, that is, 4. He's got a .273 average. Pitch to the plate is a little bit high and inside by Cutshaw. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Wildcats have Andy DeGraw at third base, Mike Caldwell at short, John Caffer at second, Mike Bird at first base, the catcher Edward Dunbar, the outfield, right field at Stanton McCaskill. Pitch to the plate is a little bit inside and high. 2 balls and no strikes. In center field, Brad Martin. In left field, Jim Felty. Cutshaw on the mound for Oak Ridge. 2 balls, I believe, and no strikes. The count on Dwayne Roberts. Neil Cutshaw once again has a sign from Dunbar. Looks at his runners. Bases loaded for the Dragons. Pitch is going to be fouled at the plate. He swung at ball 3 that time. So it'll be 2 balls and 1 strike the count. On deck for the Dragons is the right fielder Luke Shattuck, batting .348. 5-0 the score. Wildcats and Dragons here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Cutshaw once again has the sign. And the pitch to plate. Swung on a miss. So Cutshaw battling back here. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count on the first baseman for the Clinton Dragons, Dwayne Roberts. We appreciate all the help we got from WYSH Radio in Clinton, Tennessee with some of the batting averages and such for this ball game. And Cutshaw's pitch is going to be a called strike 3. So Roberts is caught looking here by Cutshaw. So that's out number 2. The bases are still loaded. And on the bat now for the Dragons will come the right fielder Luke Shattuck. Shattuck struck out in the top of this inning. He was the first out of this inning. Has an opportunity to be the third out. Cutshaw on the mound. Bases loaded for the Dragons. 5 runs are in for Clinton. Neil Cutshaw replaced Jeff Krupp on the mound just moments ago. He got an out as the first pitch to Shattuck a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Todd Guthrie on camera tonight on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. And Todd, it's been a pretty bad inning for the Wildcats here in the second inning. A lot of control missing for Krupp as the second pitch is a little bit inside and low.
Yes, it has. Actually, I'm really worried because here it is early in the game, and Clinton has already taken a 5-0 lead. And with bases loaded, this inning's lasted pretty long.
Pitch to play is going to be a little bit longer. A line drive to the outfielder, McCaskill, as 1 run is in, 2 runs are in. So it's a 2-run single for Luke Shattuck. So right now it's 7-0. Clinton on top. And 2 RBIs credited to Luke Shattuck. And he'll be at first base. Clinton still has runners on the corner at third base. Coming in to score was, let's see, Tony Simpson came in along with Kelly Calhoun. Alan Severs moves down to third base, and Shattuck is at first. Runners of the corners, 2 men out. 7-0 the score here in the second inning of play from Bobby Hopkins Field. Big lead taken at first base by Shattuck, and he's going on the first pitch. The pitch is going to be a strike, and nothing going on. It's going to be a stolen base for Luke Shattuck as Oak Ridge second baseman John Caffer came halfway between the mound and second base, a play that Oak Ridge uses. In fact, a play that District 3 uses quite extensively, and Clinton wouldn't hear anything of that play. 7-0 the score, second inning of play. If you just tuned in, 7 runs have scored here in the second inning. Pitch to the plate is a little bit high, and the count is now 2 balls and no strikes against Reed Satterfield. Satterfield singled and scored in this inning. 7 runs have scored, and still there are runners on. Second and third. Here's the pitch to the plate. High fly ball, long fly ball. Felty way back, way back. This ball is off the fence, and a couple more runs will score. And coming in to score now on a double will come, let's see, Alan Severs comes in to score, and so does Luke Shattuck on the double by Reed Satterfield. So just like that, it's 9-0 Clinton here in the second inning of play. And Clinton has either gotten the beneficiary of a number of walks, and just recently they've been hitting the ball real well. Let's see, counting up the runs. 9 runs have scored here in this inning on, let's see, 6 hits, I believe. So it's been a tough inning for the Wildcat pitching staff. Jeff Krupp started things up. Neil Cutshaw had 2 outs. Well, I have to think back to that play that Edward Dunbar made, or didn't make earlier, on a high pop-up right at the plate. He was unable to corral it. And Clinton's inning continues here as now to bat will be Matt Kirby. He also singled and scored in this inning as the pitch to plate is called a strike. No balls and 1 strike. 9-0 the score. Oak Ridge was trounced by the Dragons last Thursday at Clinton by a final score of 10-0. The Wildcats need to get things going, but still plenty of time in this one. We're only in the second inning of play. Oak Ridge has only had 1 hit. They've only been at bat once as the pitch to the plate is also a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to Matt Kirby. On deck will be Terry Milan. Kirby, 1 for 1 in the game, an infield single just a moment ago. Runner at second base. Pitch to the plate, swung on, a little ground ball to the second baseman, John Caffer. He's got it, throws on to Mike Bird at first for out number 3. A very long inning for Oak Ridge. 9 runs go to the plate, come to score for the Dragons on, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits for the Dragons, and 1 man was left. So our score, Going into the bottom half of the second inning here from Bobby Hopkins Field, the Oak Ridge Wildcats trail Clinton by a score of 9-0.
Leadoff hitter for Oak Ridge in the bottom of the second inning, the catcher Edward Dunbar.
David Clary, Todd Guthrie back here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Bottom half of the second inning about to get set. Clinton leads Oak Ridge by a score of 9-0. And on the bat for Oak Ridge will come Edward Dunbar, the catcher. The first three for the Wildcats will be Dunbar, Mike Bird, and then Jim Felty. Dunbar comes into the game with a batting average of .225. He's been at bat 40 times, has 9 hits, and has scored 10 runs. Wildcats trail 9-0. On deck for Oak Ridge, the first baseman Mike Bird. As the first pitch to the plate is a strike, no balls, and 1 strike the count to catcher Edward Dunbar. Not a lot of seniors on this team. I think they introduced 5 before the ball game. Pitch to plate, swung on, miss, no balls, and 2 strikes the count to catcher Edward Dunbar. Wildcats started the game with Jeff Krupp on the mound. He was replaced by Neil Cutshaw in the second inning of play, and 9 runs scored in that inning. And the Dragons lead 9-0. Here's a pitch, line drive to the shortstop. Calhoun, I believe he fields it, throws on to first. He dropped the ball. So Edward Dunbar is on base on the error by the first baseman. A nice throw by the shortstop, and he should have been out. But and now the ball gets away, but Dunbar unable to get away. But Oak Ridge was the beneficiary of a single with Ulrich in the first inning, and that's the first error called against the Dragons. So Oak Ridge will start here as Mike Bird. The Wildcats are just going to have to need to just kind of chip away at the big lead and try to get some pitching and hold the Dragons still at 9 as Mike Bird comes in. Bird batting .278, 13 for 47. He scored 11 runs, has 3 RB, has a total of, let's see, let me check this correct RBI total. He's got 11 RBIs. And he's done a good job. Has a grand slam home run to his credit in a game against Oliver Springs about 3 weeks ago. Runner off first. Here's the pitch to plate, a little bit low to Mike Bird. And it's a 1 ball and no strike count. On deck, the left fielder, Jim Felty, followed by Stanton McCaskill, the right fielder. Bird steps in once again, 1 ball and no strike. Edward Dunbar takes his lead off first. Pitch to plate. It's going to be a high pop-up in center field. Center fielder calls it, and he's got it for out number 1. So Bird flies out to the center fielder, and on the bat now for the Wildcats will be the left fielder, Jim Felty. Felty batting .375 coming into this game, 9 for 24, has scored a total of 9 runs, has 6 RBIs, he's walked 2 times, has 3 stolen bases. And thing about Felty, he doesn't strike out a lot. And he comes to play. The pitch to him is in for a strike, no balls, and 1 strike the count. Stanton McCaskill, the right fielder, he's been swinging the bat real well in the last couple of ball games. He's really picked up his average about 150 points over the last 3 ball games. 1 ball, no balls, 1 strike. Pitch to the plate is a little bit high, evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. 9-0 the score. The Clinton Dragons on top of Oak Ridge here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Todd Guthrie doing the camera here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Throw over to first base. Dunbar back safely. He reached on the error by the first baseman just moments ago. Timeout is asked for by the umpires. Dunbar kind of gets some of the dirt off of his uniform. 9-0 the score. Bottom of the second inning. We've got 1 man out, and Jim Felty has a 1 ball and 1 strike count. Wildcats and Dragons here from Bobby Hopkins Field in Oak Ridge. The district tournament starts next week as a bunt attempt by Felty is a strike, but a stolen base for Edward Dunbar. So the Wildcats have a runner in scoring position as Dunbar steals second base. And for Edward Dunbar, that'll be stolen base number 5 on the season. And he's down there, and Felty now has a 1 ball and 2 strike count. Once again on deck for the Wildcats will be Stanton McCaskill. Mike Bird flew out to the center fielder for out number 1. 9 runs in for Clinton in the top of this inning as the pitch to play is down low in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. Felty, like we said a minute ago, is batting .375, 9 hits in 20. Pitch to plate is fouled back by Felty. The count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jim Felty. McCaskill on deck. Dunbar takes his lead off of second base. 9 runs in for the Dragons. Simpson on the mound for Clinton. Once again, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Swung on, missed for Jim Felty. And on the bat now will come Stanton McCaskill for Oak Ridge. McCaskill, like we said, has really picked up his average recently. He's batting an even 300, 6 for 20. Hit a home run the other night in a game dead center field. Nice blast for him. I think he has 4 hits in his last 5 at-bats. Renner takes his lead off of second base. Pitch is a little bit outside, I believe. 1 ball and no strikes to count. On deck will be Brad Martin, the center fielder. Dunbar, who reached on the first baseman's error, takes his lead off of second base. Once again, McCaskill steps back in, pitch to plate. It's a little bit high. 2 balls and no strikes to count, I believe. The umpire didn't really give much of a signal, so that pretty much indicates the first pitch was a ball. So it's 2 balls and no strikes. Brad Martin on deck for Oak Ridge. He's the number 9 batter for the Wildcats. The Wildcats base runner Thad Ulrich reached in the first inning on a single. Dunbar's on with an error. Pitch to plate is swung on and missed. So it'll be 2 balls and 1 strike to count. Stanton McCaskill, a senior, he was recognized before the game for this is their last regular season home game. Of course, the district tournament will be here. Pitch to plate is swung on and missed. It was a little bit high, but it'll even the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 9-0 the score. Bottom of the second inning here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Sun going down. Hopefully this camera, Todd, will be able to pick up the action when the sun goes down. Let's see if McCaskill win. He did. It's going to be a strikeout for Stanton McCaskill. So that's out number 3. So our score here from Bobby Hopkins Field, Oak Ridge trails Clinton by a score of 9-0. And we'll be back after this. Field Oak Ridge trails Clinton by a score of 9-0. We're on the mound. The batter for the Dragons, Terry Milan. He scored on an RBI single earlier. In fact, pretty much the entire roster got on base in that second inning of play as Cutshall fires 2 balls and no strikes to count. The first 3 batters for the Dragons will be the bottom 2, then back to the top of the order. Terry Milan, the catcher, followed by Justin Hill, and then the pitcher, Tony Simpson. Milan has a 1 ball and no strike count. Cutshall winds, the pitch to plate, high drive to center field. Brad Martin going back for it. He will not get it. So once again off the fence, and it'll be a stand-up double for Terry Milan. He rounds second. Now he gets the stop sign by the head coach at third base. So it's a leadoff double for Terry Milan here in the 3rd inning of play. The 2nd inning of play started exactly the same way as Dwayne Roberts led off the inning with a double, and the Dragons scored 9 runs in that inning. Once again, Coach Glover talking things over with his catcher, Edward Dunbar. Let's see if Oak Ridge is going to make a change. I don't believe anybody warming up. Maybe Johnny Williams for Oak Ridge warming up down to our left side. It's once again Nelson Glover, the head coach of the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats, out to talk things over with Neil Cutshall. And yes, indeed, Coach Glover is going to make a change. So in the pitch now for Oak Ridge will come Mike Overton. And while we have the pitching change, why don't we break it once again? We're back here at Bobby Hopkins Field. David Clary and Todd Guthrie here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7 as Mike Overton's the new pitcher for Oak Ridge. He replaces Neil Cutshall, who came in for Jeff Krupp in the 2nd inning of play. And on the bat for the Dragons will be the number 9 batter, Justin Hill. He singled and scored in the 2nd inning of play. Runner at second base, nobody out here in the 3rd inning from Bobby Hopkins. Overton's pitch to plate's a little bit high, 1 ball and no strikes to count. The Dragons scored 9 runs in that 2nd inning, had 7 hits, including 3 walks, I believe, as Overton has a 1 ball and no strike count. Milan takes his lead off of second base. Overton looks back that way. 1 ball and no strikes. The pitch to plate, curveball a little bit high. 2 balls.
Police, open up!
Terry Milan, Justin Hill, and Reed Satterfield plated the 9 runs. 3 balls and 1 strike, I believe. Overton going to be called a strike. That evens the count, I believe. Maybe it's the scoreboard reads at 2-2, but I believe it might be full. And either way, Overton back on the mound. Marlin takes his lead down at second base. We apologize for any sound problems we might be having right now as Overton pitches. It's in the dirt. Nice start by Dunbar. It's going to be walk to Justin Hill. And so Clinton now has runners at first and second with nobody out. And on the bat now for Oak Ridge will come Tony Simpson, once again the pitcher for the Clinton Dragons. So Oak Ridge has not had any success on the mound so far. Krupp started out. His control was a little bit poor. Cutshaw followed and was hit a number of times. He gave up a leadoff double in this inning. And Overton walks the first man he faces. So Clinton has runners at first and second and nobody out. We're glad you've tuned in here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Mike Overton on the mound for Oak Ridge. He's a sophomore. Has seen limited action on the mound for Coach Nelson Glover. Leadoff batter Tony Simpson steps in once again. He is 0 for 1 in the ball game. He scored a run. He was hit by a pitch in the second inning of play. Overton looks back that way. In the batter's box once again will come Simpson. Nice crowd on hand here at Bobby Hopkins Field. Caffer bluffs behind second. Here's a little curveball outside. So far, the Wildcats sophomore pitcher having a little problems getting his control underway as he walked the first man he faced. Has a 1-ball and no strike count on the leadoff batter Tony Simpson. Simpson batting .409 coming into this ball game. Overton steps off the mound, fakes back to second base, will not throw the ball back. Back on the rubber he goes. 1 ball and no strikes the count. We're in the top of the third inning. 9-0 the score. Oak Ridge trails Clinton here from Bobby Hopkins Field. The last regular season home game for 5 seniors as the pitch to the plate is a little bit outside. So 2 balls and no strikes the count. And Coach Nelson Glover has got to be a little bit disappointed so far at the control of his pitchers so far. As runners at first and second. Nobody out here in the third inning. 2 balls, no strikes the count. Overton on the mound. Looks back to second once again. Fires the plate. Swung. A little half swing is going to be fielded by Caffer at second. He'll throw to first for out number 1. A kind of a check swing that time by Tony Simpson. He's upset with himself. And he's the first man out in this inning. The runners advance down to second and third. Marlin is at third base. Down to second goes Justin Hill. And on to that now for the Dragons is the second baseman Kelly Calhoun. Calhoun singled in 2 runs in the second inning of play, and he is 1 for 2 officially in the game as he had the first out in the first inning of play. He reached on an error by Mike Caldwell, but he was erased as Overton winds the pitch to the plate, swung on ground ball once again to John Caffer. Second, a run will score, but Oak Ridge picks up their second out as Caffer throws out Calhoun. So now to bat for the Dragons will come the shortstop, Alan Severs. So Clinton leads Oak Ridge 10-0, the exact score we saw last Thursday at Clinton, Tennessee. Still a lot of time in this game. It's only the third inning of play. Overton on the mound for Oak Ridge. At third base is Justin Hill. 2 men down now. And the number 3 batter, Alan Severs, on the bat for the Dragons. On deck for Clinton will be Dwayne Roberts. Wind beginning to pick up here as Overton winds the pitch to plate a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes. Severs came into the game batting .326. He walked and scored in the second inning. He also grounded out to the third baseman Andy DeGraw in the first inning. So he's 0 for 1. Pitch to plate. Nice stop by Edward Dunbar. I believe a curve in the dirt. So that will be a 1 ball and no strike count on Severs. 2 balls and no strikes to count. Runner at third base. That's Justin Hill. Back in the batter's box will come Severs. He'll take his lead. Hill off of third. Here's a pitch. Line drive. Grounded down the third base line. The umpire calls it foul. So a nice diving attempt by Andy DeGraw, but the ball rolled foul just outside the bag. So it'll be 2 balls and 1 strike to count. Like I talked about a minute ago, a very nice crowd on hand here. The largest turnout so far for an Oak Ridge game. Todd got a couple of shots of the crowd on hand here. A lot of people watching this game. A very pleasant night for baseball here on this Friday night from Oak Ridge. Mike Overton on the mound for Oak Ridge. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. 10-0. Clinton leads. They scored 9 runs in the second inning. They've plated 1 here in the third. 2 balls and 1 strike. Overton winds, curveball, swung on and missed. Evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sievers, the shortstop, 326, has a total of 3 home runs. He's not the team leader in home runs. That belongs to Dwayne Roberts. He hit 1 the other night. He leads the team with 4. Mike Caldwell has 2 for Oak Ridge. He leads the Wildcats in that category. Overton winds, the pitch once again, a curveball. Nice play by Dunbar. He'll throw him out once again. Bird steps on the bag for out number 3. So give a strikeout credit to Mike Overton. And he gets the last 3 batters he faced, but not before a run scored. So our score going in the bottom of the third inning here from Bobby Hopkins Field, Oak Ridge trails Clinton by a score of 10-0. And we'll be back after this. We're back here at Bobby Hopkins Field. Oak Ridge trails the Clinton Dragons by a score of 10-0 here in the bottom of the third inning. Oak Ridge will send up the number 9 batter, Brad Martin, then back to the top of the order to Andy DeGraw and John Caffer. That Martin in. First pitch to him is a ball, 1 ball and no strikes to count. 10-0 the score. 9 runs scored for Clinton in the second inning, and just 1 run just scored here in the top of this inning. We're in the third inning. 1 ball and no strikes to count to Brad Martin. Martin comes into the game with a batting average at 379. He fouls that one back. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Nice crowd on hand here from Bobby Hopkins Field. We're glad you've tuned in as the sun beginning to set still slowly. Getting darker here at Bobby Hopkins. The wind picking up a little bit. It was a beautiful day as we started. Temperatures in the upper 70s, I believe. A nice day for baseball. A lot of people came out to watch this one. Of course, this is Oak Ridge and Clinton. A lot of Clinton fans made the trip. Pitch to the plate is going to be a little hopper over the pitcher's head. Fielded by the second baseman. Throws on to first for out number 1. So Brad Martin is retired. Second baseman to first base. So that's 1 away here. And on the bat will be the leadoff batter once again, Andy DeGraw. And DeGraw is 0 for 1. He flied out to the left fielder to open up the game. Wildcats have had 1 lone base hit, that coming by Thad Ulrich in the first inning of play. Wildcats have had 2 runners at second base as Dunbar managed to get that far. And DeGraw's in the bat. The pitch to the plate is a little bit low. 1 ball and no strikes to count to the senior third baseman, Andy DeGraw. Of course, DeGraw, a 3-year starter for Oak Ridge. An excellent baseball player, a great leadoff batter, gets on a lot and has a lot of stolen bases. Pitch to plate, a little bit low. 2 balls and no strikes. On deck for Oak Ridge will be the second baseman, John Caffer. Caffer probably has had the hottest bat over the last couple of weeks. He didn't get to play early on, but he has a very hefty batting average of 448 and has really been hitting the ball very well. Pitch to plate, it's a curveball, bounces out in front of the plate. 3 balls and no strikes to count. The Wildcats need to start chipping away here as we're in the bottom of the third inning. 10-0 Clinton leading Oak Ridge. Mike Overton came in, did a good job getting the last 3 batters he faced. Of course, 1 run scored. He walked his first batter, but then retired the next 3 in order. DeGraw has a 3 ball and no strike count. The pitch to plate, called a strike right across the plate. 3 balls and 1 strike the count. Todd Guthrie doing our camera. We hope you appreciate watching this game on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Hopefully we might get a chance to get some of these district tournament ball games as Andy DeGraw walks. And Oak Ridge has some base stealing ability at first base. He leads the team in stolen bases. He's got a total of 16. He's followed by Randy Bedard, who has a total of 15. They're usually, Bedard started this season as the number 2 batter. DeGraw, a good base stealer. He's a threat to go at any time as Caffer steps in. Caffer, like I said, batting 448 coming into the game. He's also 0 for 1 in the game. He popped out to the pitcher in the first inning of play. DeGraw at first base with a walk. Caffer steps in. 10-0 the score. Third inning of play from Bobby Hopkins Field. We're glad you've tuned in. Caffer, as DeGraw's going on the first pitch, an attempted bunt is going to be fouled back, I believe, by Caffer. No indication by the referee. Let's see. Maybe it's a stolen base. I guess that it'll be the case. Not a foul ball. So Andy DeGraw steals his 17th base of the season. And Oak Ridge has their 3rd runner in scoring position as Caffer steps in once again. No balls and 1 strike the count. Caffer on the mound. Pitch to plate, swung on, fouled back No balls and 2 strikes on Capper. On deck for Oak Ridge, the designated hitter, Thad Ulrich, now batting for Mike Overton, who replaced Neil Cutshall, who came in for Jeff Krupp, the starting pitcher for Oak Ridge. Wildcats and Dragons here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. DeGraw at second base. He walked with 1 away in the 3rd inning of play. The leadoff man for Oak Ridge, Brad Martin, grounded out. 3rd inning of play here from Bobby Hopkins. DeGraw still tying his shoe down at second base. Tony Simpson on the mound for the Dragons. Wildcats. John Capper once again back in the batter's box. No balls and 2 strikes to count. 1 away in the bottom of the 3rd inning of play. Here's the pitch to play. Swung on a high pop-up. Might drop in the left field. It's going to for a base hit. So Oak Ridge gets a single from John Capper, a bloop variety, but it counts just the same. So Oak Ridge now has runners at first and second. DeGraw was unable to advance from second because he wasn't sure if the ball was going to be caught by the shortstop. It just barely got over his head. The left fielder was playing deep, so there was no way he could come in for it. So Oak Ridge has runners at first and second with Thad Ulrich on the bat for Oak Ridge. Ulrich, a junior, batting .405, really has done a good job. A good ball player, does a good job in the field when he plays. He's the designated hitter tonight, a good bat. Pitch to plate is down in the dirt, 1 ball and no strikes to count. On deck for Oak Ridge will be the cleanup batter, Mike Caldwell. Caldwell also has done a good job. He leads his team in home runs. He's got a total of 2, leads them in RBIs. He's got 16. Here's a pickoff play back to second base. Andy DeGraw back safely. Ulrich has a 1 ball and no strike count. 10-0 Clinton on top of Oak Ridge here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Be glad you've tuned in here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. A perfect place to play baseball, as there's 2 fields, of course. If you've never been here, Gray Strength Field down below us, and the big field, an old field used by the Oak Ridge Pioneers, a semi-pro team of a few years ago. An excellent place to play ball. That's why the District 3 selected this site for the district tournament, as the pitch to plate is called a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Thad Ulrich. Wildcats and Dragons here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Ulrich once again steps into the batter's box. Tony Simpson on the mound for Clinton. DeGraw takes his lead off of second base. Off of first base will go Capper. And it's going to be a balk called on Simpson. It looked like he was about to deliver to the plate. Then he quit in mid-motion. And it was indeed a balk called against Tony Simpson. So now Oak Ridge has 2 runners in scoring position on the balk. And down to third base will go to DeGraw. And the second will go Capper. So 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Ulrich. Here's the pitch to plate. High pop foul to the right side. First baseman gives it a chase. It drops out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count to Thad Ulrich. He led off, got the Wildcats' first hit in the 1st inning of play. He was stranded as Mike Caldwell struck out. Right behind him, Wildcats have DeGraw at third base, John Capper at second. 2 seniors recognized before the game, their last regular season home game. We hope you have been able to watch the entire telecast here. Ulrich, 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Caldwell on deck for Oak Ridge. Simpson looks back to second. Pitches to the plate. Ulrich swings. Little pop up down the right side. Is it fair or foul? It drops foul just barely down the right field line. So once again, Thad Ulrich will have a 1 ball and 2 strike count. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning here from Bobby Hopkins Field. 10-0 the score. The Clinton Dragons on top of Oak Ridge. I said it a minute ago. Oak Ridge lost to the Dragons last Thursday, 10-0 at Clinton, Tennessee. The Wildcats have a long ways to go in this one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ulrich once again steps in. Runners take their leads off second and third. Capper at second. DeGraw at third base. Simpson looks back that way. Fires the plate. Inside. Evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think Clinton wanted that call. Ulrich backed out on it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, Ulrich will step in. Caldwell on deck for Oak Ridge. He struck out in the 1st inning of play. Batting over .400. The Wildcats have about 7 batters, as here's a strikeout of Thad Ulrich. So the Wildcats will need a 2-out base hit from Mike Caldwell. He's been a big RBI man all season long. He's going to have to pick up a 2 base hits and get some Wildcats on the board as Caldwell steps in against Tony Simpson. DeGraw will take his lead off of third base. Capper off of second. Caldwell steps in. He struck out, like I said, in the 1st inning. And here's the pitch to the plate. It's going to be a curveball in for a strike. No balls and one strike to Mike Caldwell. On deck for Oak Ridge, the catcher, Edward Dunbar. He also reached on an error by the first baseman for the Dragons in the second inning of play. He was stranded at second base. Wildcats trail 10-0. Pitch to the plate is a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to Mike Caldwell. Caldwell doesn't strike out that many times. He's got a .400 average, exactly 16 for 40. He scored 16 runs, has 16 RBIs, has walked 12 times, and the pitch to the plate is a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We've got 2 away here in the third inning of play. 10-0 the score. Caldwell once again in the batter's box. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch to the plate. Curveball, line drive to the outfield. Base hit. Mike Caldwell, 1 run will score. The runner is going to be held up at third base, so runners on the corners. A key base hit by Mike Caldwell, so Oak Ridge on the board with an RBI single by Mike Caldwell. And now to bat for Oak Ridge will come Edward Dunbar, the catcher, as DeGraw comes around to score. And Camper, the ball was hit not that sharply in the right field. The right fielder fielded it very cleanly, got the ball in quickly, so Camper was forced to stay at third base, and Caldwell will take his lead off of first. Runners in the corners, 2 men out. Oak Ridge on the board, 10-1 the score, and Dunbar steps in for Oak Ridge. Dunbar, like I said, reached on an error in the second inning of play. Caldwell takes a big lead, and here's the pitch to play. It's in the dirt. Nice stop by the catcher. Looked like it might have gotten past him, but he saved it right at his feet. 1 ball and no strikes, 2 men down, 1 run in for Oak Ridge. Wildcats are going to have to pick away at this big 10-run lead. Caldwell takes his lead off of second base. They might just let him go here. Here's the pitch to the plate, swung on, a little ground ball by Dunbar, gets through the shortstop, 1 run will score. Caldwell rounds seconds, comes on to third base, and Oak Ridge once again has runners on the corner. It's going to be credited a base hit to Edward Dunbar and an RBI. So John Caffer comes in to score, and now it's 10-2. So that's exactly what Oak Ridge has done, and Oak Ridge has got these runs in with 2 out base hits. So the Wildcats plating 2 runs here in the third inning of play, and the inning continues. On the bat now for Oak Ridge will come the first baseman, Mike Bird. Bird flied out to the center fielder in the second inning of play. Bird batting .278, has 13 hits on the season, and a total of 10 RBIs. Wildcats need to get a couple more here. 10-2 the score. Simpson on the mound. Caldwell will take his lead off of third base. Dunbar, a big lead down at first base. Let's see if the pitcher tries to hold him on. He'll pitch the plate. Bird takes a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Mike Bird, he's a senior player. Has played 3 years, I believe, for Coach Nelson Glover on this Oak Ridge High School baseball team. Runners at the corners, 2 men down, no balls and 1 strike. The senior first baseman, Mike Bird, wearing the number 9. Sometimes he wears the number 2, I believe, on the road in the red jerseys. Runners on the corners. Caldwell takes his lead. Bird steps back in once again. Pitch to the plate is going to be a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. Dunbar at first base. Caldwell down at third. 2 consecutive 2-out base hits for Oak Ridge, plating 2 runs here in the third inning of play. In high school ball, of course, 7 innings are played. This is a District 3 game, as the pitch to plate is a foul tip held on to by the catcher. It's a strikeout, so Mike Bird strikes out for out number 3. So our score going into the top of the 4th inning here from Bobby Hopkins Field, Oak Ridge trails Clinton by a score of 10-2, and we'll be back after this. David Clary, Todd Guthrie back here at Bobby Hopkins Field. 10-2 the score. Clinton on top of Oak Ridge. Top of the 4th inning of play. On a bat for the Clinton Dragons will be their number 4 batter, the first baseman, Dwayne Roberts. He's 1 for 2. He had a double in the second inning of play. He grounds the ball to Caffer for out number 1. So Mike Overton, that is, has recorded the last 4 straight outs as he grounds out. Roberts grounds out to Caffer And on the bat now for the Dragons will come the right fielder, Luke Shattuck. Once again, we apologize for any audio problems we might be having. It isn't a sustained problem. We hope that you'll just bear with us. We're broadcasting here from the bleachers at Bobby Hopkins Field. Pitch to plate, high pop-up in the infield. The shortstop, a new shortstop, I believe, Randy Bedard in for Oak Ridge. He makes the play for out number 2. So Mike Overton has recorded 5 consecutive outs since he walked his leadoff batter, and he's done a good job. On the bat now will come the third baseman, Reed Satterfield. Satterfield in the game also, let's see, is 1 for 2. He has 2 RBIs and a strikeout as he'll step in, 2 men down here in the 4th inning of play. We're glad you've tuned in here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Overton winds the pitch to plate, called a strike, no balls and 1 strike. And the sophomore Mike Overton doing a pretty good job here on relief for Neil Cutshall and Jeff Krupp. 10-2 the score, the 4th inning of play here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Mike Overton on the mound for Oak Ridge. Mike Bird at first base. John Caffer still at second. Randy Bedard as the pitch to plate is a little bit high and inside, I believe. 1 ball and 1 strike. The shortstop, Randy Bedard, replaced Mike Caldwell. And at third base remains the same. Andy DeGraw pitched to plate, swung a line drive, base hit into right field. McCaskill cuts it off, and a 2-out base hit by Reed Satterfield gives the Dragons their 11th hit of the ball game. And on the bat now once again will become the catcher, Matt Kirby. In the game, he's 1 for 2. He singled an infield single and scored in the 2nd inning of play. And let's see, also in that 2nd inning of play, he made the 3rd out by grounding out to the shortstop. Runner at first base, Reed Satterfield. The catcher, Matt Kirby. As Overton looks over to first base, fires to plate. It's a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes the count. We're in the 4th inning of play, 10-2 the score. Clinton leads Oak Ridge here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Mike Overton on the mound for Oak Ridge. He also was a member of the Oak Ridge High School basketball team. Has a great outside shot. Should see considerable action next year as a wing player for Coach Steve Shipley. Pickoff attempt over to first base and back safely is Reed Satterfield. A 1 ball and no strike count on Matt Kirby. Overton has the sign from catcher Edward Dunbar. Mike Caldwell's out of the ball game right now as once again Overton fires over to first base. Back safely once again, Reed Satterfield. Randy Bedard, a senior, is in at shortstop. He's been pretty much the starting shortstop throughout the season. And Mike Caldwell is replaced. So now Andy DeGraw talking things over with Mike Overton. 2 away here in the 4th inning of play. 10-2 the score. As once again stepping in will come Matt Kirby. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Overton once again looks back to first base. He'll throw over once again. Back safely was Reed Satterfield. Overton working on Satterfield over at first base. He really hasn't come close to picking him off here yet. We'll just see if he can catch Satterfield leaning as he once again takes a lead. Not as big a lead as we saw just moments ago. Overton looks back that way once again, fires the plate. Pitch is a little bit outside and low. 2 balls and no strikes to count. On deck for the Dragons, it's going to take a 2-out base hit. Will be Terry Milan. Milan in the game is 2 for 2, a double and a single. He scored 2 runs and has an RBI. 2 balls and no strikes. The count on Matt Kirby, the catcher. He pitched to plate. It's called a strike. Throw down by Dunbar on a steal attempt. Gets through. It's a stolen base for Reed Satterfield. So the Dragons once again have a runner in scoring position. A 2-ball and 1 strike count. And Todd, I hope the rain will stay away. It was a beautiful day before this. The clouds are beginning to roll in as the sun goes down. And hopefully the rain will stay away for this game. There was about a 30% chance of rain coming in this, but it was such a beautiful day, I don't believe it's going to rain. 2 balls and 1 strike. 10-2 the score. Oak Ridge trails Clinton here from Bobby Hopkins. Overton on the mound. Winds. The curveball is a little bit outside. 3 balls and 1 strike the count. Mike Overton entered the game with nobody out in the 4th inning of play. A leadoff double by Terry Milan off of Neil Cutshall. Coach Nelson Glover made the change right there. A walk to the leadoff batter. Here's a wild pitch, gets through Dunbar. And now Clinton has a runner at third base. But what I was saying, Overton walked the first man he faced, then he retired the next 3 batters in order. And he got the first 2 to open this inning, and now so far he walks the man at first base. So now the Dragons have runners on the corners with 2 men out. And on the bat now will come Terry Milan. Milan has been a thorn, like we said, in Oak Ridge's side in this game, as Clinton has runners at first and third. Milan has scored 2 runs, has an RBI, he has a double and a single to his credit in this ball game. He steps in. He's the number 8 batter for the Dragons, has a batting average of .326. He's a good hitter. Runner going from first, a little ground ball down the third base line. Fielded in foul territory by Andy DeGraw. No balls and 1 strike. The count on Terry Milan. Justin Hill on deck. He's the left fielder for the Dragons. When Oak Ridge comes out in their bottom half of this 4th inning of play, the Wildcats will send at the bottom 3 in the order: Jim Felty, Stanton McCaskill, and Brad Martin. It's the last regular season game here for Oak Ridge. The Wildcats, a big district game, a big crowd on hand here. The Clinton Dragons and the Wildcats as Overton steps off the mound. Runners on the corners with no balls and 1 strike the count. On the batter, Terry Milan. Taking his lead off third base will go Satterfield. As once again Overton throws over to first base. Back in time was Kirby. Satterfield at third base, Kirby at first. He walked, and Satterfield got over to third on the wild pitch on the 4th ball thrown to Kirby. Milan at bat. No balls and 1 strike the count. Wildcats will be opening district play next Saturday, or actually this Saturday as you're watching the replay on a Monday afternoon here on Bobby Hopkins Field. The District 3 tournament, as the District 3 softball tournament will also be in Oak Ridge during the same period of time. That tournament will be played at Carl Yearwood Field. So the District 3 tournaments, boys baseball and girls softball in Oak Ridge. A lot of good, talented athletes will be on the field in both of those tournaments, so we'll hope you'll come out and watch some good ball played here in Oak Ridge next week. Thrower to first base once again is not in time. Sophomore Mike Overton. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Terry Milan. 4th inning of play, 10-2 the score. Overton once again fires back to first base. Bird puts the tag on a little bit late once again. Overton has worked a lot on the base runners over there, keeping them as close as possible. Wildcats already trail by 8. And Milan steps back in. 1 ball and 1 strike. He's 2 for 2 in the game. Pitch to plate's a little bit high and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Justin Hill on deck for the Dragons. Justin Hill is also had a good night. He's 1 for 1. A single, a run scored, and an RBI. He was also hit by a pitch in the 4th inning of play. As Overton, 2 balls and 1 strike, fires to plate, pitches way up high, and down to second base on a stolen base will go Matt Kirby. So the Dragons have a chance to recapture those 2 runs that Oak Ridge scored in the bottom half of the 3rd inning with a base hit here, as Clinton has runners at 2nd and 3rd. The wind beginning to pick up once again here from Bobby Hopkins Field. We're in the 4th inning of play. A 3 ball and 1 strike count on center fielder Terry Milan. Mike Overton on the mound. Overton retired the first 2 batters he faced in this inning. He struggled here recently. 3 balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch to the plate. It's a ball, so it's a walk to Terry Milan, so the bases are loaded once again. Oak Ridge had some control problems in the 2nd inning of play. 3 walks, I believe. Jeff Krupp's control just was not there in the first 2 innings that he pitched. Neil Cutshaw came in, gave up a few base hits, and 9 runs scored in that 2nd inning. And then the Dragons picked up another run in the 3rd inning. Overton shut him down since that point, but now the bases are loaded with 2 men out, and now the number 9 batter for the Dragons will face Overton. Pitch to plate is fouled back. No balls and 1 strike the count. Justin Hill came into the game with a batting average of .286 for the Clinton Dragons. The umpires today, Curtis Newberry is on the bases. Behind the plate, I believe, is John Childs. The 2 umpires working this ball game. 10-2 the score. Wind really whipping up here. Overton pitches the plate. It's a little curved ball, a little bit outside. Evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. On deck will be the leadoff batter, Tony Simpson, already, who has batted 3 times in this game, as it was a big second inning. 12 people batted in that inning, 9 runs scored. Pitch to plate, it's going to be, gets away from Edward Dunbar, and another run's going to score, and over the third base will come Kirby. So I don't know if it's going to be a pass ball. The pitch was a little bit high, but I think Dunbar should have corralled the ball. Either way, the run scores, and Clinton increases their lead back to 9 at 11-2. And down the third base will come Matt Kirby. Terry Milan down the second base, so the Dragons still in business here. The pitch was a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count on the Clinton Dragons' number 9 batter, Justin Hill. Wildcats and Dragons here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Overton on the mound once again. Stops in mid-delivery. Good call by the umpire. And I believe it's going to be a balk called against Mike Overton, and he just kind of stopped as he went into his motion. He just kind of hesitated, and the balk is called. So once again, the Dragons have a 10-run lead. 12-2 the score on the balk by Mike Overton, and that's unfortunate. And over the third base will come Terry Milan. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count to the number 9 batter, Justin Hill. Overton steps off the mound this time. 12-2 the score. In high school ball, they have something called the 10-run rule. If one team's ahead by 10 after 5 innings, they call the game if that's agreed on before the game, as this pitch is a little bit outside. Evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, in high school ball, if you're not familiar with it, they only play 7 innings, not the 9 innings you see in the professional baseball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch to plate, a little bit high, and Mike Overton's control has gotten away from him here in this 4th inning of play, and it's a 3 ball and 2 strike count. He retired the first 2 batters easily. A ground out to Kaffer, a pop up to the outfielder, or to the shortstop, Randy Bedard, as Overton now fires. He gets away from Dunbar, and another run's going to score. It looks like it hit him in the glove, but either way, the run scores, and all 3 runners have scored after 2 men out. And now the base, I guess, will be 1 man on, as that's going to be a walk to Justin Hill. So Oak Ridge having some problems with control, and the Wildcats now trail by a score of 13-2. And Overton will now be facing the leadoff batter for the Dragons, Tony Simpson once again. Simpson in the game was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning of play, grounded out in the 1st inning, and grounded out in the 3rd inning, but he picked up an RBI. So he's 0 for 3 with an RBI in this game. 13-2, I believe, if that's the case. The scoreboard hasn't corrected it. They still have it up as 12-2, but the Wildcats trail here the Clinton Dragons here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Overton looks over to first. Runner takes the lead. Pitch to the plate. It's a little bit outside, but it's going to be called a strike by the umpire. No balls and 1 strike to Tony Simpson. He's the opposing pitcher for the Clinton Dragons. Nice crowd enjoying this baseball game. If you're an Oak Ridge fan, I'm sure, as the Oak Ridge has a lot of fans, they're not enjoying it right now. But it is a pleasant night for baseball. Pitch to the plate, swung on and missed. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Actually, it's no balls and 2 strikes. And on deck will be Kelly Calhoun. He is, 1 for 3, an 2 RBI single and a run scored in the 2nd inning. He grounded out, or actually reached on an error in the 1st, and grounded out to the 2nd baseman in the 3rd inning of play. And it's a no ball, 2 strike count. Pitch to plate, high pop. It might drop. Bedard backing up for it. He'll get it for out number 3. So Randy Bedard records the out, but once again the Dragons are on the board here in the 4th inning of play. They pick up 1, 2, 3 runs on 1 hit, 3 walks, 1 man was left. So our score going into the bottom half of the 4th inning here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Oak Ridge trails Clinton by a score of 13-2, and we'll be back after this. David Cleary, Todd Guthrie back here at Bobby Hopkins Field, bottom of the 4th inning, 13-2. Clinton leads Oak Ridge. On the bat for the Wildcats will come the left fielder Jim Felty, 0 for 1 in the ball game. The first pitch from Simpson is a strike. No balls and 1 strike to count to Jim Felty. The Wildcats, the bottom 3 in the order. Stanton McCaskill will follow Felty, followed by the center fielder Brad Martin. No balls and 1 strike. 13-2 the score in the fourth inning of play. Pitch to the plate is a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. You're on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. We hope you enjoy watching this broadcast of Oak Ridge High School baseball on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. We'd like to thank the people at Oak Ridge High School as Felty lines it to the first baseman. He fields it on 1 hop and goes on to first base for out number 1. And so Felty's 0 for 2 in the game, and on the bat now will come Stan McCaskill. He also was a strikeout victim in the second inning of play. 1 away here. The Wildcats got the beneficiary of two-out base hits to score 2 runs in the last inning. Clinton came right back and scored three runs, and they lead by 11 by a score of 13-2 as McCaskill steps in against Simpson. Pitch to plate, curveball in for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Brad Martin on deck for Oak Ridge. The Wildcats in the last inning had Caffer and DeGraw each scoring. DeGraw reached base in that inning on a walk. John Caffer had a single, and they both scored. Pitch to plate is a strike. No balls and 1 strike to McCaskill. Second pitch was a ball. Evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's a pitch to plate in the dirt low. 2 balls and 1 strike. A lot of fans still in attendance here enjoying this baseball game. A lot of people from Clinton made it over. I'm glad you've tuned in here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Curveball drops for a strike as swung on and missed by Oak Ridge's Stanton McCaskill. The Wildcats have really not had many solid base wraps against this Clinton pitcher. Mike Caldwell singled to right field, and the other singles, John Caffers was a little bloop to the outfield, just got over the shortstop's head as the pitch is a little bit low, so that makes the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Todd Guthrie doing our camera work on a camera provided by the Oak Ridge High School radio and television class. We'd like to thank them for helping us out with our broadcast. Pitch to plate, curveball, grounded to the third baseman. He fields it cleanly, fires on to first. Beautiful throw, out number 2. So the first 2 men retired for the Wildcats, and now the number 9 batter, Brad Martin, will come on to bat. Martin came into this game batting .379, 11 for 29, has scored, let's see, a total of 9 runs, has 6 RBIs. He's walked 2 times, has a total of 3 stolen bases. He's an excellent pitcher for Oak Ridge, has a 5-2 record, and he has the most wins on this Oak Ridge staff. Pitch to the plate is called a strike. Wildcats trail 13-2. 4th inning of play here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Brad Martin will step back in momentarily. No balls and 1 strike. Simpson back on the mound. No balls, 1 strike the count to Brad Martin. Pitch to the plate, a little bit low, evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. 13-2 the score from Bobby Hopkins Field. I'd like to continue to mention this, the fact that the District 3 tournament will take place here at Bobby Hopkins Field, I believe starting on Saturday. Plenty of exciting baseball action as Martin grounds it to the second baseman. He fields it cleanly, throws on to first. 3 up and 3 down for the Oak Ridge Wildcats here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And our score going into the 5th here from Bobby Hopkins. Clinton leads Oak Ridge by a score of 13-2. And we'll be back as you get a good look at the crowd here. We'll be back after this. We're back here at Bobby Hopkins Field. 13-2. Clinton leads Oak Ridge. Top of the 5th inning. Clinton will send up their number 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Kelly Calhoun, Alan Severs, and Dwayne Roberts. Calhoun steps in 1 for 3, a single and 2 RBIs in that long second inning. Ground ball fielded by Caffer at second base. He'll throw on to first base. Bird makes the out, and it's 1 away here quickly in the top of the 5th inning of play, as Caffer has seen a lot of action here since Mike Overton has come into the game. Overton has pitched very good baseball. He had a little trouble the last inning. 3 runs were able to get across the plate for the Clinton Dragons after 2 outs, but he's done a good job after replacing Neil Cutshaw, who he replaced in the 3rd inning of play. Overton fires, pitches high. 1 ball and 1 strike. A new catcher in the game for Oak Ridge, Brian Story, behind the plate for the Wildcats. And there's a 1 ball and no strike count on Alan Severs. Severs in the game is 1 for 2. He struck out his last time at bat. Pitch to the plate is a little bit low and outside, I believe. 2 balls and no strikes. So Brian Story in for Edward Dunbar. Mike Caldwell also out of the contest early on as the ball gets past Story, but it's going to be a ball. 3 balls and no strikes the count. On deck for the Dragons is Dwayne Roberts. So Randy Bedard is the second baseman, or excuse me, the shortstop now. He replaced Caldwell, and Brian Story now behind the plate for Oak Ridge at catcher, and Dunbar is out. Pitch to plate is high, so on 4 pitches, the Wildcats' Mike Overton walks Alan Sievers, so that's a runner at first base for the Dragons. On the bat for Clinton will come the first baseman, Dwayne Roberts. Roberts in the ball game, doubled and scored in the second inning, and also struck out in the second inning. He grounded out to John Kaffer in the 4th inning of play. Runner at first base for the Dragons. 13-2 the score for the Wildcats. Overton on the mound. Wildcats Mike Bird at first base trying to hold on the base runner. Pitch to plate's a little bit inside. No balls and, or excuse me, 1 ball and no strike. The second baseman remains the same, I believe. John Kaffer. DeGraw's at third. Bedard is at short. Felty in left. Brad Martin in center field. The right fielder is Stanton McCaskill. Overton fires the pitch to plate. Swung on, ground ball up the middle, fielded by Bedard. Now he kicks it out to the left side. Let's see if it's going to be officially called a hit or a single. The ball was well hit in the hole. Bedard had to go a long way, but they're going to give Randy Bedard an error on the scoreboard in either case. So that'll give Clinton runners at first and second. An error charged against Bedard. It's kind of a questionable one. He had to go a long way to get the ball. The ball ticked under his glove. And so Clinton has runners at first and second. 1 man down. And on the bat now will come Luke Shattuck. Shattuck in the game as Overton looks back to second. Fires to plate. Story makes a nice stop behind the plate. Ball could have gotten away. 1 ball and no strikes to count. Sanders Shattuck in the game struck out in the second inning of play. In the second inning of play, he also singled and knocked in 2 runs and scored. And he flied out in the 4th inning of play. Pitch to plate is a ball. 2 balls and no strikes to count. Wildcats and Dragons here as Coach Nelson Glover wants to talk things over. And timeout is asked for. Glover slowly making his walk towards the mound. And let's see if we get a pitching change here. 13-2 the score. And Coach Nelson Glover talking things over with his sophomore pitcher, Mike Overton. Todd Guthrie doing our camera work as the sun is settled here from Bobby Hopkins Field. The Wildcats did not get off the bat early. They trailed at one time 10-0. They now trail 13-2 here in the 5th inning of play.
Yes, I really wish that Oak Ridge could have got their bats going earlier. Clinton had no problem, unfortunately, and they've shown that Clinton's got a very, very good team. That doesn't mean that we're having as much problems as it looks like, but right now we've gone through, I think, 3 pitchers already, and it's really hurt us.
Coach Glover elects to keep Mike Overton in the ball game. 2 balls and no strikes to count on the batter, Luke Shattuck. Runners at first and second for the Clinton Dragons. Pitch to plate is way high. 3 balls and no strikes. Let's say warming up in the bullpen for Oak Ridge. Looking down that way, I cannot quite see. Wildcats, I guess, will just go with Mike Overton here as 3 balls and no strikes. Pitch to plate, swung on, line drive, base hit into the right field past Mike Bird. 1 run will score. Here's the throw to the plate. It's going to be not in time. So it's a RBI single for Luke Shattuck, and that's his 3rd RBI of the ball game. Coming in around the score was Alan Sievers. Down to second base will go Dwayne Roberts, and the inning continues, and now it's a 14-2 lead for the Clinton Dragons. Clifford Guthrie warming up in the bullpen for Oak Ridge. 14-2 the score. Overton on the mound. Runners at first and second. A line drive. Mike Bird almost made a play. In fact, it almost hit the base runner down at first base. Overton fires to the plate. Pitches in the dirt. Nice stop. Brian Story behind the plate. Satterfield, 1 ball and no strikes to count. On deck for the Dragons will be Matt Kirby, followed by Terry Milam. We've got 1 away here in the 5th inning of play. Runners take their leads off first and second. Overton looks back to second. Big lead by that base runner. Pitched the plate. Is swung on and missed. Evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. 14-2 the score here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Wildcats trail by 12 runs here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. This important district game, the last regular season home game for Oak Ridge. Overton on the mound, fires, pitch to plate, curveball a little bit low. Story keeps it in front of him. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Kirby on deck for the Clinton Dragons. This is Reed Satterfield at the plate. Down at first base, Luke Shattuck. At third base, at second base, Dwayne Roberts. Overton on the mound for Oak Ridge. The pitch to plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. It's a little ground ball out in front. It's going to be a foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The count on Satterfield. Oak Ridge got the first. Overton got the first batter in this inning to ground out on the first pitch. That was Kelly Calhoun. But since that time, a walk to Alan Severs. He came around to score. An error charged to the shortstop, Randy Bedard. They had runners at first and second. Then an RBI single by Luke Shattuck. And that's where we stand now. 14-2. Pitch the plate. It's a curved ball just off the corner of the plate. Outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes the count. Reed Satterfield, the man batting for the Dragons in the game. He is 3 for 3. A single in the second inning, a double in the second inning, and a single in the 4th run. He's also scored 2 runs and has 2 RBIs. Pitch to play is a line drive in the gap. No, it's going to be caught by the center fielder. Took my eye off it momentarily, and Martin makes a nice play out there. So the Wildcats pick up their second out of the inning. My fault. Brad Martin making the play out in center field. 2 away here. And on the bat now for the Dragons will come the catcher, Matt Kirby. Kirby in the game is 1 for 2. He singled an infield single in the second inning. He scored. He grounded out to end the inning in the second inning. And he walked, stole a base, and scored on a balk in the 4th inning of play. So he's up to bat, and he fouls the first pitch back. Story racing for it. It'll be just out of his reach. No balls and 1 strike the count. 2 away here from Bobby Hopkins Field. 5th inning of play, 14-2 the score. On deck for the Dragons, Terry Milan. Milan also has had a big night. He's 2 for 2 and a walk. He scored 3 runs. And Overton back on the mound. Runners take their leads off of first and second. Overton looks in for the sign from Brian Story. No balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch to plate. A little bit outside and high. Evens the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Milan on deck. Like we said, this is Kirby, the catcher for Clinton, on up to bat for the Dragons. Wildcats trail 14-2 here from Bobby Hopkins Field. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Overton fires the plate. Curveball drifts across the plates. Called a strike by the umpire. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mike Overton, sophomore, on the mound, has done a good job since he entered the game in the 3rd inning of play. He's allowed 4 runs. His control has been his worst enemy. As the pitch to plate, swung a little ground ball up the middle. Let's see if Bedard can handle it. He keeps it in front of him, and he'll keep the run from scoring. Bedard couldn't make the play. It should be a base hit given to Matt Kirby. Bedard kept it in the infield, and the bases are now loaded for the Clinton Dragons. And at third base, Roberts. Down to second will go Shattuck. Kirby's at first with the infield single. And now to bat for the Clinton Dragons, I think, will come Terry Milan. Now we're going to get a pinch hitter for Terry Milan. Let's see, the referees or the umpires talking things over. And let's see. Coming on to bat for the Clinton Dragons, as I'm looking for my Clinton roster here. We'll have an announcement here momentarily. It'll be number 5, batting for Terry Milan. And let's see. That'll be Larry Paul Taylor. Larry Paul Taylor on the bat for Milan. And he'll step in with the bases loaded and 2 men out here in the top of the 5th inning. 14-2 the score. Overton on the mound. Runners take their lead. Here's the pitch to the plate. Pitch is a little bit low. Once again, a nice stop by Brian Story, keeping that ball from going past. 1 ball and no strikes to count. Justin Hill on deck for the Dragons. 2 runs have scored, or excuse me, 1 run is scored in this inning. 14-2 the score. Bases loaded, full of Dragons. Overton on the mound, pitch to plate. Once again in the dirt. 2 balls and no strike. No place to put Taylor as the bases are loaded. Overton once again has the sign from Brian Story. 2 balls, no strikes to count. 2 men down here in the top of the 5th. Overton fires, curveball, outside, 3 balls, and no strikes to count. Hill on deck, another bad one here. A run will score, and the bases will remain loaded. Overton trying to battle back, 3 balls and no strikes. 5th inning of play, 14-2, Clinton on top. Overton on the mound, 3 balls, no strikes, pitch to plate, swung on, high fly ball. The left field should be caught, I believe, and is by Jim Felty. And just like that, that's out number 3. So on a 3-ball, no strike count, the pitch was flied out, so Oak Ridge got a break that time. So our score going into the bottom of the 5th inning, Oak Ridge trails Clinton by a score of 14-2. And we'll be back after this. David Clary, Todd Guthrie back here at Bobby Hopkins Field. Oak Ridge trails Clinton by a score of 14-2, bottom of the 5th inning of play. And the Wildcats will have the leadoff batters on here in the 5th inning of play. Andy DeGraw, John Capper, and Thad Ulrich will be the first 3 to face the Clinton Dragons. And joining me now while we have a little break in the action is Susan Hyde, a member of the Oak Ridge High School girls softball team. And Susan, first of all, congratulations. I understand you have a couple of no-hitters to your credit. How do you think the softball season's gone so far?
I think we've done pretty well. We've had some problems with errors and some problems with batting a few innings, but I think overall we've done pretty good.
You got a pretty impressive record. I noticed the last couple of games, though, you've had a couple of defeats. A South Young team, I believe, defeated you the other day, and another loss. District tournament just around the corner. It's going to be at Carl Yearwood, I believe. What do you think your chances are in the district tournament, and what do you think your chances of advancing past that?
We've been working real hard, so I believe that we could do pretty well past the district tournament, but I don't believe we need to look past it because there's a lot of teams in it that are good. Let's see, Carnes can play good ball, and then there's Central Halls and Oak Ridge. We're all tied for first and second right now, so you know it can go either way.
Going into the season, I know a lot of potential. A lot of people talked about the fact that you probably might have the best softball team that Oak Ridge has ever had, and Coach Steve Shipley was really pleased with the early season prospects. You've got a good record. Do you think it's caused some problems knowing going into some of the games that you do have a lot of potential and really probably are the team to beat?
I don't believe so. I think we go into each game with the attitude of them being a very good opponent, and we try to, you know, work real hard to win each game. We don't look over teams.
Well, Susan, thanks a lot for coming by. The action's going on the field. Andy DeGraw has a 3-ball and 1-strike count. Pitches will call a strike, but Susan, once again, congratulations on a fine season, and maybe we'll get a chance to do some of your ball games next week at the district tournament.
Okay, thanks a lot.
That's Susan Hyde, member of the Oak Ridge High School girls softball team. An excellent pitcher. 2 no-hitters as DeGraw lines it to right field for out number 1. So Andy DeGraw had worked a 3 balls and 2-strike count, and he now lines out to the right fielder for out number 1. Oak Ridge has not had a lot of base hits. John Caffer had one in the 3rd inning, a kind of a bloop. Edward Dunbar had a single in the 3rd inning of infield variety. Caldwell, I believe, also with a single. And Thad Ulrich also scored. John Caffer now up, had a single. John Caffer up now for Oak Ridge. Caffer in the game is 1 for 2. He singled and scored in the 3rd inning of play. We have 1 down here. The first pitch to him is a strike. And so as DeGraw flies out to the right fielder, 1 down, as I'm catching up with my bookkeeping here, Caffer has a no-ball and 1-strike count. He lines the ball in the hole for a base hit. John Caffer continues to hit the ball real well, and he's got a base hit. The Wildcats need a start here. The Wildcats trail by 12 runs, 14-2. I talked about the 10-run rule earlier. The Wildcats would like to get on the board a few more runs here and keep this ball game going. 14-2 the score. Thad Ulrich, the batter for Oak Ridge, the designated hitter, batting for the pitcher, Mike Overton. Pitch to plate, little ground ball, foul down towards us to the left side. No balls and 1 strike. Ulrich singled in the 1st inning of play. He struck out in the third inning. Wildcats have John Caffer at first base. He's 2 for 3 in the game. Had a batting average, a good batting average of well over 400 coming into this game. No balls and 1 strike. Bottom of the 5th inning of play. On deck for Oak Ridge as a throw goes over to first base. Back safely is John Caffer. And Caffer might have been hit by the throw. He gets up very, very slowly. Nelson Glover, the head coach of the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats, I think wants to see if he's okay. It looked like it might have hit him on the arm. I believe maybe he was spiked. I'm not really too sure. 14-2 the score. Clinton on top of Oak Ridge here from Bobby Hopkins Field. We're glad you've tuned in here on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. Our cameraman today, Todd Guthrie, has done a good job getting the action. I guess it's really difficult with one camera trying to cover an entire baseball game, but I guess you probably can realize that. But I think he's done a pretty good job. Wish I could say the same. It's a nice day from the bleachers here at Bobby Hopkins, broadcasting this game on Tennessee Cablevision Channel 7. This is a Friday night game. The replay, I believe, is being shown on Monday, but it was a very cool and pleasant night for a lot of people. Not cool, a very warm, mild, I guess, night for when there's the throw over once again, gets away, and Caffer will scamper down to second base. So Simpson tried and tried over that way, and this time he throws the ball away. So credit John Caffer, not with the stolen base, as he advanced on the error by the pitcher. So Oak Ridge has 1 runner in scoring position, a no ball, 1 strike count on Thad Ulrich. Ulrich struck out in the third inning. He's batting over 400. The Wildcats have 8 batters with a 400 or more batting averages. The pitch to plate's a little bit low. 1 ball and 1 strike as the wind really whipping it up here at Bobby Hopkins Field. Hopefully we'll try to keep some of this rain. We saw some clouds coming in towards us earlier. Hopefully that rain will stay away. 1 ball and 1 strike. The count to Thad Ulrich. Jr. on deck for Oak Ridge will be the shortstop, Randy Bedard. He came in for Mike Caldwell. Pitch to plate is a curveball. I guess it was inside. Looked pretty good from my vantage point, but from where I'm sitting, it's kind of hard to tell. 2 balls and 1 strike. Either way, the count. Ulrich, the designated hitter, played a lot of the early games at second base, but John Caffer's been hitting the ball so well, he's been playing the designated hitter, and he pops it up in the infield. It's in foul territory. It's going to be fielded just outside the line by the first baseman. So we've got 2 men down. Wildcats will now send up Randy Bedard. Caffer's down at second base. A pop-up by Thad Ulrich in foul territory. And on deck for Oak Ridge will come catcher Brian Story. John Caffer will take his lead off of second base. 14-2, 5th inning of play. Wildcats need a couple runs here. Actually, they need 3. Bedard steps in, 220 batting average, and he fouls the first pitch back. No balls and 1 strike. Bedard comes in at 220, 9 for 41, scored a total of 6 runs, has 5 RBIs, 3 walks, and is second in the team in stolen bases. He's got a total of 15. Bedard, 1 ball, no balls and 1 strike. Pitch to plate, right across the plate. No balls and 2 strikes. John Caffer at second base. Oak Ridge and Clinton here from Bobby Hopkins Field. Bedard, no balls, 2 strikes the count. Here's the pitch to plate. Ground ball to the second baseman. Fields it cleanly, now boots it, but he manages to throw the ball in for an out. And the game is over as the second baseman bobbled the ball momentarily and then threw on to first for an out. And the game is over. The 10-run rule holds, and Clinton defeats Oak Ridge by a final score of 14-2 as the wind continues to whip up. This is the last regular season game here on Bobby Hopkins Field for the Oak Ridge team. Of course, the district tournament will be played here starting Saturday, I believe. Of course, the girls softball tournament will also be played in Oak Ridge, and that'll be at Carl Yearwood Field, and that'll, I believe, will begin on Saturday. So our final score once again, Oak Ridge drops the game to the Clinton Dragons by a score of 14-2 in 5 innings. So why don't we break it back here, and we might get a chance to talk with the head coach of the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats, Coach Nelson Glover, and we'll see if we can get to that after this. David Clary, Todd Guthrie back here at Bobby Hopkins Field after Oak Ridge drops the game to the Clinton Dragons. The final score of 14-2. Recap of the scoring: Clinton got on the board big in the second inning with 9 big runs. The inning started on a leadoff after a leadoff double by Dwayne Roberts, a strikeout to Luke Shattuck. Jeff Krupp was on the mound for Oak Ridge. Consecutive singles by Reed Satterfield and Matt Kirby loaded the bases with one man down. Then an RBI single by Terry Milan was the first run across. Then the next batter, Justin Hill, singled in 2 runs, and Clinton led by a score of 3-0. And then back to the top of the order, a hit batsman by Tony Simpson. The bases were loaded once again. Then Kelly Calhoun singled home 2 runs, and the Dragons, I believe, led by a score of 5-0. Then a walk to Alan Severs, so the Dragons batted around in the second inning. And on the pitch for Oak Ridge came Neil Cutshaw, a strikeout to Dwayne Roberts, which was followed by a 2 RBI single by Luke Shattuck, a double by Reed Satterfield. 2 more runs scored. Matt Kirby grounded out for out number 3, but not before 9 runs scored for the Clinton Dragons. Oak Ridge got on the board also actually Clinton got another run in the third inning of play, as Cutshaw, the first man he faced was Terry Milan. He doubled to center field. He was replaced by Mike Overton. Overton walked the first batter he faced, and on a wild pitch, Milan advanced down to third base, and then an RBI ground out by Tony Simpson as Overton got the next 3 batters, but the run scored, and Clinton led by a score of 10-0. Oak Ridge got their 2 runs in the third inning of play. 2 out base hits for Oak Ridge. The inning started with a ground out from Brad Martin, 1 away, and then Andy DeGraw walked. He stole second. He was on base, a little bloop single by John Caffer, so Oak Ridge had runners at first and second. A strikeout of Thad Ulrich, and then a 2-out single by Mike Caldwell plated Andy DeGraw, and Edward Dunbar also followed with a single that plated John Caffer. That was the only 2 runs that Oak Ridge scored. The Dragons kept scoring. In the fourth inning, they scored 3 runs after 2 outs. A single by Reed Satterfield, a stolen base, and he scored on a wild pitch. Then Matt Kirby walked. He stole second. Came around the third on another ball, or 2 consecutive walks to Terry Milan and Justin Hill. A balk scored 1 run, or 2 runs had scored in the inning, and then a wild pitch and 2 runs scored, so 3 runs scored. So the Dragons led by a score of 13-2. They got their final run in the 6th inning after 1 out. Alan Severs walked. He advanced to second base on an error by the shortstop for Oak Ridge. He got to second base and scored on a single by Luke Shattuck. So Clinton wins in 5. The final score of the ball game: Clinton 14, Oak Ridge 2. Hopefully we'll be back to talk with the head coach of the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats, Coach Nelson Glover, and we'll hope to get to that in a few minutes.